Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a replay on Scenario 2 of Strike Counterstrike, the most recent MMP offering on the GTS system. I did a little review of the booklet that came with the game. I guess you could call this a magazine game, but that's more of a strategy manual that you get with ordering this smaller game. And Scenario 2 is fairly straightforward. I think it's the beginning of this offensive panzer layer, and the back and forth. The initial strike is going through the this 4th Armored Division, and this particular cavalry group is attached to the 44th Infantry Division during this scenario. So everything acts under the 44th Infantry Division, even though this cavalry group is the only thing, mostly the only group that's out there at the beginning of the game. There's a little got a company of tank destroyers up at the top that's on the board initially. This is a tough one because it's really only 3 turns. There's a 1500, is it 1500 turn, and then there's a night turn, and then there's the 0700 turn. So Germans have to do a 2-pronged attack, I think, going through here and then this way, and they want to try to get down to at least some of these 3-point victory hexes. They're going to have to do it quickly. They're going to have to do it without losing too many units, because they'll lose victory points. They need to get, according to the chart, German victory is, and I assume there should be an equals sign underneath here, equal to or greater than 16, draws 9 to 15, and the American victory is equal to or less than 8 German victory points. So they can get victory points by eliminating American units, but they need to try to push to the villages that are worth more points. So the German has at its disposal on the initial turn, this is their Regiment 901, and there's a couple of it looks like Stu G3s, and that's probably a Vespa, an artillery unit that's integral to the formation, and then these are all infantry. Oops, that one is not. This is an infantry company in half tracks. There's a mortar in half track, and then there's a couple of attachments over here. Another artillery indirect fire unit, and this is, I believe, oh yeah, flak, a direct fire flak unit. They also have, according to the setup instructions, these you can attach or have in contact the artillery units that are going to be in the artillery park at the beginning of the game. Well, you'll set those up as a division activation chit, which is the first one, John. And then over here, there's a we have a Regiment 902 Panzergrenadier, and then 2 Panther companies, a little heftier, and very heavy on the much more well stocked with infantry units, but they are in trucks, as you can see. So transportation, if you stay on roads, will be farther, and then but off-road is going to be harder. And then we have a couple of mortar units and another Vespa. I believe that's probably a Vespa. I'm going to look in the scenario book. And then I've got 2 artillery units there as well that are in contact. And that's going to be important because the division activation chit is the first one that's automatically drawn. And you do have the other 2 formation chits in there for the German, but because, and this is where it gets tricky. When I first did a turn trying out this scenario, I forgot that you cannot, since it's rain, these only have a range of 2 anyway, but since it's rain, you only have a range of 2 with any unit. But with the division activation chit, you cannot move into fire range of any of the enemy units. So I'm going to have to move the headquarters close enough to barrage some of the hexes. And you really can only do probably 1. So you can, if you can see this hex and be 2 away, you can barrage that hex, and then you can get units in behind that. But there's no way to get any kind of fire on these units in that first division activation because of the range issues. Normally, you might be able to get one of these Panthers. I think even with these other, I think these are Panzer IVs. There's a range of 3. So normally, without the rain, you could stay within 3, which is out of the fire range of this unit, and then be able to fire on and pay for fire activation. But you can't do that in this case, so I'll have to be a little creative with the artillery barrages. So that's the setup, and we'll get on with the first activation. Okay, I debated whether to go through some of the details of this opening move, but I think for those of you who maybe haven't had as much experience with this system, or wondering how things fit together, some of the subtleties that come into play, I think I'm going to go ahead and do at least the first German division activation, because that's the initial chit that's played. It's not drawn. You have to play the division Panzer there. The biggest issue with division activation is that you cannot move within firing range of an enemy unit. So the decision I have to make is whether to use any command points for the German in terms of laying down barrages. I've gone back and forth on this, and I'm wondering if it's better to get as close as possible, which is going to be 3 hexes away from any of these units, because there's only a 2 hex. It's rain right now on the opening turn, so the line of sight is limited to 2 hexes. So I could either pay a command point for each of the formation commanders, and then that would have to happen on the second action. Let me backtrack here for a second. Commanders move in a couple different ways. They can move at the end. You can just transfer. They don't have any movement points. You can just transfer them at the end of a division or a formation activation. They can go onto any unit that's part of their formation. Or you can, they can travel with a particular unit and they have to stay with that unit, but it can be only as a part of a command point expenditure. And in this case, it would have to be a second action, because division, you don't spend a point in the first move. The first move for division is just movement for any of the units, and since they move one at a time, you could pass on one of the units and then pay a command point to move it, and then move the commander, and then it could be up in the front. Then and you have to remember that reinforcements are not in command when they first enter. So as a division activation, they don't need to be in command to move. So they'd move, and if you had a commander at the front, then they'd be within range. You could move in some of your artillery that's part of the formation or attached, or you could spot for some of the artillery in the artillery park as part of a second action. So I could spend up to, I could probably use 6 command points and have 3 barrages. Again, you can't get close enough for getting within 2 to actually barrage a hex, because you can't move within that range of those units, because the American player has put his armored cars and takes out front. So the best you could do is get 3 hexes away, say here, and then do a barrage covering this area in front of a particular unit. And it doesn't really help for the division activation. It would help during a subsequent formation activation by having that there. But I'm wondering if I want to waste all the command points on that. I'm guaranteed of having at least 1 formation activation, and the likelihood is going to be 2 unless I'm pretty unlucky on that side, on the German side. So I'm going to try it this way, and we'll just do the moves and not worry about getting in position to put any barrages down during the division activation. Because I can still do that. I can use the artillery here in a formation activation. So I'm going to forego using up all the command points until then. So let's roll for command points first. You roll a 10-sided die, and you do that first. Not the greatest roll. That's 3, round down, half of that rounded out, and that's 1, and then you add that to the command point command rating, and that's 5 for a Panzerlehr, so that's 6. So you only get 6 command points anyway. And then you have to roll for dispatch. Rolled an 8, so he actually does not get any dispatch points. He starts out with, let me check on that. I was moving some things around, and starts off with 2 dispatch points. And I actually think I did that wrong. He only starts with 4 command points, am I right? Yeah. So actually, okay, so yeah, you start out with 4 command points, and he has a 5 rating, so 5 plus 1 is 6 more, so he'll start with 10 command points for this turn. And I know I've got all my units spread out here, but let's start moving them. And remember, in rain turns in this game, in this module, it reduces to 2 hexes for the sight lines, and then you also add an extra movement point per hex unless you're on the road in column. So of course all these are going to be in column. Let's move our Panzer IVs, I think, first. Let me start up here. So we got 1. I'm not going to put the column markers on here right now, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6.5, and then they will actually come out of column this turn, so they will not stay in column, this particular unit. One, just a comment about how activation works, and the advantages and disadvantages of activating one unit at a time, doing whatever that action is going to be, and then paying for a second action. It makes it simple in one way. You just have to worry about one unit at a time. You're not moving a whole bunch and then attacking or assaulting, etc. But sequencing becomes really important. So you have to be careful about leaving units that are blocking the road, things like that. Also how you're going to set up barrages, which isn't going to affect this particular activation, but you'll see that soon enough. Okay, so one thing about also all these units are starting here. They can overstack on the reinforcement hex. They're not in command, so you can't pay any points, command points for those units. And they don't have to worry about, they can all start as 0 here and then start counting their movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, and we'll stop. Actually, I'm gonna go there. I think I can still see that unit once it opens up. And then take off the column marker. That's a movement point. So all these are starting in column formation. And I've got this particular formation is not as strong as this one over here. Where's my this is the 902 Regiment. this is quite a bit of infantry, and they have the Panther companies, so they're quite a bit stronger. And I'm thinking of these victory point towns are obviously pretty easy to get. I'll mark this one and mark this one as control, and but they're not worth a whole lot. If you come down here, the German's going to have to get it, probably at least 2 of these. There's 3. If you go over here, there's 3 towns that are worth 3 points, and we need to get to 16. I believe it was 16 or more. Yeah, and that's, both victory points for towns, their control, and eliminating American units while not losing too many of yours. So you could probably get to 14 or 15 victory points and hopefully get 1, 2, or 3 American units eliminated more than what you have eliminated. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to try to do this and then come around this way. And I think this formation will be strong enough to hold off any flanking attacks that come in the last turn. But there are no reinforcements that come in for the American till the second turn, and then over here on the third and last turn. Okay. To make sure that I'm getting all the column units as far as I can. These are, I think, my infantry companies. These are half tracks over here, so but they don't have as many movement points as the trucks on the other formation. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we'll go here. That's 7, 8. 8 for the extra, and then we'll stay in column for this, and the other one will go here, and they'll also stay in column, and then one more infantry. We'll be able to get to there. Now we've got a couple of indirect artillery and integrated artillery with this formation. One has 11 and one has 14, but this one has a range of 17, so it doesn't have to be very close. So I'll move this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leave. We'll take that out of column. We've got a direct fire flak unit here, the range of 6. So the range is going to be an issue this turn because of the rains. So I'm going to move it here and stay in column for now. And then we've got another mortar unit, range of 6. we'll move it to here. And we have a indirect fire. I'm not sure what that unit was. I have to look that up. Only has one step. Range of 3, so 16. I thought it was interesting. Another comment about the map. I looked at this and thought, if you look at this spot right here, and I guess they did that on purpose, but there's no, it looks like you could outflank going this way, but there's a hex here, there's a hex here, but you can't go through here. So and I think this, I don't know, I have to check that as far as being, yeah, that's impassable, so you can't cross here. It looks inviting though. I guess that would make it pretty easy for the German if you could do that. Yeah, I probably misplayed this, but again, it's only range of 3. It should be out front farther. I guess I'll just put it there and leave it in column. Okay, and then the leader you can transfer. Oh, I forgot one more. This is looks like a Vespa, maybe artillery unit, and this does not need to be close to the front. 17 hex range. Let's leave it here for now. That's quite the range. And then the leader will go here, and he is in contact with these two. Okay, then on this side, let's just put the control mark because I'm going to go through this town. So I haven't paid any points yet. Husbanding them for the other activations that I'm hoping to get before the American gets a chance to dig in. Okay, let's get these Panthers up front. This formation starts here. I don't know if you can see that up here. And readjust. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. There's a junction here. 7, 8. There's not much, and I'll take the column marker off. And then the other tank unit, I think we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's as close as we can get. 7. Maybe 7, 8, 9. We're still in column. 8, 9, 10, 11, and if I go into there, I think it's just a village. Is it a town or village? It's looks like a village. So I can go in there, and if it's a town or larger, I have to be in column. But a village, I can come out of. So I think you should be able to go in here and then take the column marker off. Okay. Then all this plethora of infantry in one engineer unit. Okay, these are trucks. 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let's do this. 6, 7. I can get to here. I think. Now the question is, do I want to unload now? That's half the movement points. So if I can get to any place with 14, I could unload. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be an orchard. Would be 7 in column formation, plus the rain is 8. So I could get there with 8, and then I think I'm going to unload. I'm going to try to play and go out of column as well. I think I'm going to play a game of leapfrog, so I'll have some infantry attack and some behind that can breach any gaps that happen. Okay. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll get to here and then do that and get out of column. The same thing. Now it's interesting. Ooh, woods are 2 in column plus the extra for. Well, no, it would be wheeled. The wheeled can't go into woods, so I was hoping to use these woods as screen, but I can't use the transportation to get in there, and once I'm unloaded I have to stop. So we'll get to here and unload. And then some infantry support here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is still 8. Rails pretty much. It's 1. 9, still in column. 10 out of, I can still do this. And I'm going to do this. Leave these in column. Do I dare put this, leave this in column with that tank sitting there? Well, he'd have to get pretty close to, I think it's okay. He's not going to go past that. Still got 2 more. I've got a lot of infantry. I'll put another one here. Oops. Leave that in column. And then infantry. Do I get, I don't know, this seems far away. 3 hexes. Well, just stay flexible. Put it here, leave it in column, and go to either side if necessary. Then we've got mortar unit, another mortar unit, which 3 will, it's still wheeled. So if I could get 2, it's got a range of 6. So if you can get 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'll have plenty. And then I'm going to unload it. And then the other mortar. We'll get to here and then unload. So we've got some options here for doing some barrages if we need them beyond the artillery parks. Okay, and then 1 unit left for this formation. Again, looks like a Vespa. And we'll get it, it's got a 14 tracked movement point allowance, so range of 9. We'll stay flexible, put it here. It'll be out of column. Okay, and then this is a range of 8, so it should be fine here. Although, just realized I should get it to a place where I could, except I can't see. That's the bad thing. I need to get it, the commander, to a place where they're close enough to get that artillery in. Same goes for this. I mean, the problem is you have to be within 2 to see anything to do indirect fire, so well, what I'm gonna want to do is probably find somebody to move. Why did I leave those in? That's clear. These are the decisions. The little tiny thing, it seems tiny at the time, but it makes a big difference later on in the turn. So if I get an activation, say for this formation, I'd have to get close enough with the commander to bring in any of the big artillery. And so, well, I'm going to put it here. I'm not sure why. I really think the initial 2 should be. Do they have enough to flip to get unloaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can unload. I think they still have to stay in column. That's another point. Actually, I think the rules say that if you unload, you can be in column or take it off as part of the loading. So I'm going to get these. I'm backtracking, but since it's solo play, I get to do that. And I just put this as the wrong formation commander. Should be, I'm going to put it here. This one will go here. Okay. All right, that is, I'll zoom in so you can see that's where that formation is, and then I have to remember what the names of these, that's Panzer 130. This is the 902nd Regiment, the brown, and this is the 901st. Okay, so that's the end of the division activation. Again, it takes longer to play when you're talking about things than it does to just do it. But let's quick roll or draw for the next activation chit. German is hoping for green or brown. And it is random event. Okay, we roll the die. It's a 3. And in their random event chart, roll of 3 is American hero. Great. American, place an American hero on any unit. This unit has all the modifiers on the hero marker. So basically you're improving. Thought I had a hero marker here. Okay. Now this can be rolled again. Here's what that hero marker looks like. So basically you're improving one unit. And I will, should I put it on the, I'm going to put it on the tank unit. That puts, let's take a look at this. That puts the tank destroyer unit up to a 7. Also 3 assault, plus it's the morale or the troop quality is up to 6. So that's a little bit easier to deal with these Panthers. So we'll do that. And we'll draw one more. German gets green. So we'll do that. Take a little break and come back with the formation activation.